Coming to you from the beautiful and windy Coachella Valley in the great golden state of California, this is Workin' It with Reed Fish. Today, I'm really happy because Stephanie Fish is here, who, in addition to being my sister-in-law, is a former Disney princess. Stephanie worked at Disneyland and Tokyo Disneyland for a total of 8 years, and for 4 of those years, she was a princess doing parades and meet and greets throughout the park. So Stephanie, 8 straight years of working at Disneyland, 5 or more days a week, every week. You must be so sick of Disneyland.
You know, surprisingly, I'm not. I am not sick of Disneyland in the slightest.
Not even in the slightest?
Not in the slightest. In fact, I miss it a lot.
Okay. Why? That's shocking to me because I feel like I go to Disneyland for a day and I'm like, well, that was really fun.
Right.
And then eight years passes and then, I could go again for a day. So, but that's me. Obviously, you know, that's my thing. So tell me, what is it then about Disneyland that keeps you like wanting to be there even after working there?
I mean, it's a magical place. That's a given. It's a happy place. That's a given. But I think also a big part of the nostalgia like really appeals to me. I grew up going there. I always had a pass as a kid. And then I started working there when I was 18. So I was still a kid. And then I'm there and being able to work there and go in the park for free all the time. And your best friends are going in the park for free. So we were really lucky to create all these memories where, you know, we're just going in the park for dinner, or we go just for a churro and watch the fireworks, then we can leave. And
right, because if you grow up close to Disneyland, or if you're working there, you can just pop in.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like the big ordeal of having to drive
and
for
so
6 hours.
there's not that stress of like, oh, if I got to get on this ride and this ride, and I'm standing in these super long lines. Like we can go and be like, well, we'll catch it next time.
Right. So so you started working there when you were 18, and would you have a job interview? How does that work? I mean, you have an audition?
Well, so what happened was 2 of my girlfriends that I grew up dancing with as kids, we were on the competition dance squad together. They just called me one morning and they were like, hey, we're going to go to this Disneyland audition for their Christmas parade today. Do you want to go with us? And I was like, okay, whatever. I have nothing else to do.
Right.
Cut to, they pick me up. We go to the audition, they get cut immediately, and I'm still there. I'm there all day long. And then at the end of the day, I had got a spot in the parade.
Okay, so what did you have to do in the audition? So you kind of told me something earlier before we started recording about what they do. So I'm kind of curious about that.
Well, that Christmas parade audition was for a dancer spot, and so there's hundreds of people, and they do girls and boys on different days. So it's just a ton of girls. And first they teach you a short little combination and you go across the floor and they just are like cutting people, like right when you make it across the room, they're kind of just like you to the left, you to the right.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah. It's kind of just a real quick, it gets rid of at least half of the group basically. And then after that, you learn another combination, and that's in a little bit smaller groups and you have more time to really like work on the steps. But you do that process a couple times throughout the day, and there's multiple cuts, and then they take some people away to different rooms to maybe try on wigs or try on to measure their heights to see if they could do different characters.
Wow, I feel like I would have been cut immediately.
You actually, especially for the Christmas parade, would have been kept all day long because you're so tall.
Oh.
You're so tall, and you're like, you're strong,
It's my defining feature. It's my one asset.
I mean, so you could play Beast. I mean, Beast is huge.
Oh, yeah, but I don't dance.
You don't really need to.
As Beast?
Yeah, he just slow dances with Belle, but he's bulky, like he just walks.
Okay.
You don't have to do much.
But you said at one point they were just staring at you.
Okay, so now if you want to be a princess at Disneyland, you go to a different audition.
Okay, so this was a dancer audition.
That was a dancer audition.
Okay.
The princess or a face character audition.
A face character?
Face character.
What's
That's what the characters whose faces show.
Oh,
so
okay.
like
You're
your
not behind the mask
princesses, your Tinkerbell, Peter Pan. You don't have on like a head costume.
Right.
They're called face characters. So I went to a face character audition one time. And
but this was after you were working at Disneyland?
I had already been working there for probably 2.5 or 3 years.
Okay.
And I also had already been told, like, you're going to be, at the time it was for one of Tinkerbell's friends, a fairy named Iridessa. And so they're like, you're going to be Iridessa, don't worry about it, but we do want you to come to the audition.
Okay.
Just for whatever. So I wasn't really stressed going in, but it seemed like a very stressful process because there are a ton of girls. Some of them are dressed up like the princess that they want to play. I mean, that was pretty weird.
Right. Okay.
Those girls got cut pretty much
they did? Yeah.
immediately.
Okay. Because they're crazy.
I mean, it's like a bit much, you know?
Yeah. Honestly, it all sounds like a bit much to me.
And so, you know, we go into this rehearsal room. There's mirrors, you know, on the walls. And they just line us up in rows. And I remember it was like these 2 women and a guy coming, and they would just stop in front of each girl and like stare at her face and look down at their little clipboard and like, okay, and move on. And you just get stared at. I was like, man, this would be so much pressure. Like just so.
Right. So you weren't feeling that in that moment.
I wasn't feeling that. I was kind of just like, taking it all in because I had never seen anything like that.
Because you would get to be Iridessa no matter what.
Yeah, so I wasn't worried. I was just kind of like, damn, like I felt for the girls who were like hopeful there.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so then you got cast as a princess. And so what princess?
So then I was cast as Princess Tiana from the movie Princess and the Frog. In 2009 is when that came out.
Okay. I don't know about that movie.
You don't?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Were you a fan of it before you got cast?
Well, so I actually was, I was cast as the princess before the movie came out.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. And so I was part of like the very first group of Princess Tianas in any of the parks, not just Disneyland.
Okay.
And so we kind of helped, the character's already developed, but we kind of help develop her mannerisms and how she's going to act towards guests and things that she's going to say.
Okay, yeah. So that kind of takes me to one of my questions is like, what, you know, when you're out there dressed as a princess in the park, like what are you allowed to say? What do you know, you have to, you know, I feel like, you got to be in character, but do you have scripts that you say, or is it just more like, well, she's very gentle and she, you know, loves, you know, hot dogs. And so she talks about that a lot. What?
Oh yeah. Right. Definitely, you know, your story, and that's what it's called. They're not called movies. You know, if somebody comes up to you and they're like, I've seen your movie, you'll just go like, oh, do you enjoy my story? Cause it's the story of your life, you know? So you're just like, oh, you love my story.
And obviously with Disney, as I know, I have a small young girl. It's not just the movies. There's other.
Exactly.
They retell those.
I mean, these
stories.
Characters, they have lives that go on and on and on. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, you need to know your character traits, and you know, Tiana, she values hard work. She is a cook, so she likes to talk about food. She likes to talk about recipes. She's very kind, but she definitely is a very motivated, determined, focused person. And so just keeping that in mind, that's kind of the type of conversations.
But you're but are you reined in on the subjects you can talk about, or you have to play off the guest?
You play off the guest. And so, what I was going to say is, so if you know those traits, you can kind of improv, and some girls are better at it than others. Right. Some girls really will just stick to, you know, hi, I'm Princess Tiana. I love cooking gumbo. Bye, y'all. They kind of just will keep it very quick and brief because they don't have much else to say, or they'll just kind of pick up one line and say it to everybody. Right.
And so you have a specific accent that you use for Princess Tiana?
Yes. Princess Tiana is from New Orleans, Louisiana. Nolans.
Okay.
But it's not really like a Nolans accent, Louisiana Southern accent.
Because, can you do the accent for us?
Yeah, I mean, I can. So Princess Tiana, it's more of like a sweet Southern, like, hey y'all, how you doing today?
Okay. So Princess, I'm a little girl at the park. So, Princess Tiana, what did you do this morning before I'm seeing you?
Ooh, darling, don't you know? Well, first, Naveen woke me up with a fresh pot of coffee, and he does that every morning. It's that nice Louisiana chicory coffee. You know what I'm talking about? It's real dark and sweet. So then I repaid the favor and I made him a big plate of beignets. And you know who stopped by to talk to us? Lewis. And he even brought his trumpet. And we had some Nolans jazz music with our beignets for breakfast.
Wow. Oh my God, the kids must have loved you.
Oh yeah, the kids love it. I mean, usually they just will have like big eyes and they'll just be like, wow, you know, right. I used to just talk at the kids a lot.
Right. Okay, so you have that, and then you have makeup and costume. So do you do your makeup at home, or do you do it once you get to the park? Do you have makeup artists that work with you? Or
there are hair and makeup ladies there to help us, but we do our own makeup. I mean, there's one day during your training where you go in and that's your like hair and makeup day, and you learn how to do the makeup. And they have hanging up in the hair and makeup room on the mirrors, they have all the characters, like photos and outline guides of what the makeup should look like just there for reference. But yeah, we do it ourselves. And then the hair is wigs. They're wigs.
Right,
so
right.
We put those on and the ladies will help us pin them and everything.
Right. Okay. And what, I don't know Tiana. So what's her ethnicity? Because I wanted to ask also, are there limits on what, what roles different ethnicities can play in the princess world?
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily?
No. I mean, with Tiana, she's Black and only Black girls play her from what I've seen. No, that was another character. There's a Black fairy who a friend of mine who is a white girl, they had her put on some dark makeup and play the same Black fairy that I played, Iridessa.
Oh.
Yeah. She sent me a picture of it and she's like, look what they're making me do. And it was straight up blackface. I was like, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she's already a really tan girl. Like at Disneyland, she usually plays Jasmine or Pocahontas. So she has tan skin, but still it was like not okay. Yeah.
Jeez.
But for the most part, all the Tianas are Black. They're,
could you have played Snow White?
Oh God, I wish. No,
but would they not let you? Because
they would
Black?
Never let me because I'm Black. No, Snow White's not Black.
Right.
You can't even play Snow White if you're white and you're tan. Like you can't play Snow White.
Oh, right. Because that's okay. Okay.
But
could you have played
a lot of white girls.
Did you have played Rapunzel?
No.
Well, see, I don't understand any of the characters.
A lot of white girls do though play Princess Jasmine and Pocahontas, which pisses me off.
Oh, all right.
But
what ethnicity is Princess Jasmine?
She's Middle Eastern.
Okay. There should be plenty of Middle Eastern women.
I know. And there are plenty of beautiful Middle Easterns, that probably could, but I know. Well, and the thing too is that is weird that sometimes with the princesses, they will I feel like they try to match the actual cartoon, but sometimes they will match, like the girl's face to the cartoon's face. Sometimes they match the girl's face to another girl who plays the character's face.
Right.
But then that takes them away from the original cartoon.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it all seems pretty arbitrary.
Yeah.
I mean, you put the costume and the wig on, anyone can do it. Right?
I mean, it is.
Not anyone. I don't mean to denigrate your skills.
No.
I mean, you can. It shouldn't. The race shouldn't really.
I mean, look, some girls had a real hard time. What I was surprised with, because I did think I'm like, look, anybody can do this. This is a cakewalk.
Right.
But during training, there were 2 girls who didn't make it through training.
Oh, really?
They had a really hard time.
Well, what was hard for them?
This one girl, she had, I don't know, it's kind of almost like a tick, and she would say right every so often. So she's telling a story and she's all, so we were in the bayou, right? And we were looking for Mama Odie, right? Because we were like...
So she said right, and that was enough to get her cut.
Because she would not stop. And they were like, this isn't a Southern accent that you're doing. What is this?
Wow.
You keep saying right, try not to repeat yourself.
Right.
And so then she's like, oh, okay. And then she stood up and she's all, okay, so right, I was making it sound gumbo, right? And it was like,
Okay, so you make it
so
through.
some people, they can't get it. They can't get it.
Well, obviously you have a talent. I mean, we just heard it. So I don't think anyone can do what you do. So you make it through the audition, you become a princess. Mm-hmm. What's your typical day as a princess like?
Okay. Well, I'll say my typical day as Princess Tiana doing meet and greets. It's probably not the same as the Princess Tiana's now because it was several years ago.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't,
okay.
To me, it's all the same.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I'm sure it's not that different. You go to hair and makeup, and you just start doing your makeup.
And that's you're on the clock at that point.
Immediately, yeah. You go, clock in. Well, you have to go and you have to work out, air quotes around that, work out first.
I'm sorry, you have to work out.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like strengthening and training and stretching. But yeah, we have to do we have to go to the athletic trainer's room.
So is that in the secret underground tunnels below Disneyland?
It is in the basement where we worked out, but yeah. I wouldn't consider it a secret underground tunnel. There aren't really those at Disneyland.
Shut up.
No, there's not.
Did you sign an NDA and you can't talk about that?
No, there's not though. There are these tunnels, but they're not underground. They're like behind Space Mountain. And it's more just where pipes are. Gas and water.
That's what I find interesting about Disneyland. So now there's nothing about Disneyland I find interesting.
Okay, the underground tunnels are at Disney World.
Oh, they exist there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And because that place is so huge, and I guess it's a quick and easy way for them to get from park to park.
Okay. All right, now that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so you work out.
Okay. Yeah. So you work out, you do little circuit training, different little exercises, and that's a pain in the ass. But then you're done with that. Because it's just everybody knows it's so pointless. You're doing wrist circles, to get ready to sign autographs. It's just so silly. So then go upstairs, you put on your underdressings, which are usually a leotard that are at Disney. Disney provides. So they're all stinky and they smell and people have gotten crabs and stuff from them. So yeah, real fun times.
I associate crabs with Disneyland.
Yeah,
so
well.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I remember
this is the insider stuff I really want.
I remember there was a case of ringworm or something going around from underdressings, something that you could get. The
title of this episode is going to be "How to Get Crabs at Disneyland."
Yeah. Just wear these nasty unitards you got to wear under your costumes. I know. So usually I would put on my underdressings and pray that I don't contract anything, I don't catch anything contagious, and start putting on my makeup. And then now I've done shifts where I will go in my regular clothes, walk backstage to where I need to get dressed. One day I had to get dressed full Tiana costume. Now the Tiana costume is a ball gown and her skirt is huge, the hoop skirt.
Right.
And it's the biggest out of all the princess skirts.
Okay. Oh, it's a real Southern belle kind of thing.
Real Southern belle. People think Belle's is the biggest. Tiana's is bigger than Belle's.
Yeah.
Amateurs.
Please.
So one day I had to get dressed by, if anyone has the map of Disneyland in their head like I do, follow along with me.
I don't have that in my head.
Yeah. If not, just take my word for it that I had to walk from Main Street down to the rivers of America in kind of by Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Which is quite a trek. And especially when you're dressed as a princess in this full ball gown, Disneyland is open. There's so many people walking around.
Right.
So and then for whatever reason, I didn't usually we have a host with us, a character host, because they had told me, you have to walk over there with all my stuff because I had to spend the whole day over there. I had to bring my
so you're bringing your
lunch,
backpack.
My backpack. Yeah. Right. And they were like, oh yeah, your character host will carry that for you because I'm Princess Tiana. I don't carry a backpack.
Yeah, you're in character the second you step out in the park. Right?
I'm actually not supposed to carry anything like that. It's not part of my costume. Nope. I had to walk from the start of the park all the way to the center of the park where the river is, carrying my own purse. And people are just kids are just hanging on my skirt. Princess Tiana, Princess Tiana, Princess Tiana. And I'm just trying so hard to just not be frustrated, but and fight my way through the crowd to my spot and telling people oh, come with me, y'all. Come on over here. Let's take some pictures. So that was a crazy day. But I get to my location where I'm going to be taking pictures for the day and then just basically do a ton of 30 outs in the park.
30 outs.
30 minutes in the park, 30-minute sets. And then you do 30-minute break or you do 45 and 45.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound too bad.
No, it's not bad at all. Before you know it, your host hopefully is there telling you to get out of there.
Right. So you do have a host with you at all times?
You are supposed to. Sometimes there's not though. Right.
Because that was one of my questions basically. And the host acts as a guide and also security.
Kind of, a little bit crowd control and a little bit will help take pictures.
Because I imagine there's some TV dudes hanging out who want to like.
Yeah, there's some real creepy guys, and some that are, I'm sure, harmless, but some that are probably not so harmless. I mean, I haven't had any personal experiences with any of this, but I have had friends who have been stalked. My one friend, this one guest kept showing up outside of his house. And then he'd come, and then to the point where like he got a restraining order. He's not supposed to be at any of his shows, any of his meet and greets. I remember we were doing a show one time, and this guy, my friend, freaked out because he was like, and he had to tell our manager, he's like, he's here, he's watching the show, and he had to be removed from the park. Like, real creepy stuff like that. And like guys who would like love to take pictures of the princesses. This one guy,
like mostly in Japan.
No, there's this guy here. I'm not going to say his name.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know him probably.
He's like a photographer. I'm again using quotes, but I use quotes because he only wanted to take pictures of certain princesses that he just like, they were his favorites. And these girls would like, I went to his house and they're doing these like pinup photo shoots. And I'm like, this is not okay. This is creepy. Like he's just obsessed with Disneyland, loves to take pictures like of the characters. And then he like on the sly is like, I'll do a free photo shoot for you. And the girls that would agree to do it, I was like, ew, don't. Yeah, just real creepy stuff like that.
All right. I think that's a perfect place to end the first part of the show. So we'll take a little break and then we'll come back. And I have a lot. I've asked like 2 questions, so I think I have a lot more questions. So we'll do more after that break. All right. All right. Hey guys. So I think the best thing you can do to help this podcast out is to rate, review, subscribe, all those types of things on iTunes, especially, but kind of anywhere where you listen to podcasts. We would love it if you would subscribe. You can email us if you want. We're workinitpod@gmail.com. And then across all social media, we're workinitpod. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm @ReedFish, and on Instagram @RealReedFish. And then Stephanie, where can we find you?
Well, if you would like to follow along with some of my adventures at Disneyland, I have a YouTube channel called X Princess Diaries, EX Princess Diaries, no dashes, no hyphens. Just having fun in my favorite place. And the Instagram is EX Princess Diaries as well.
That's right. There's a lot of Disney content on there.
Yeah, lots of Disney content. If you want to just follow me personally, I'm @StephFish.
Well, but I think we want to follow your adventures at Disneyland.
I think that's a lot more fun.
Well, so what kind of stuff? So when you're doing like videos, like what kind of stuff are you doing? I have not seen your YouTube channel.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I know. It's a terrible relation that I am to.
It's some ride POV, so I, will just record going on different rides, trying food at Disneyland and doing a little review, and just seeing what happens when I go in the park. Maybe I'll run into a character, maybe I have a weird interaction with another guest, which happens every time. So
you have weird interactions with guests?
I kind of weird interactions with people everywhere I go. So, but just at Disneyland,
Is it more you or them?
I'm catching them on video.
Okay, well that sounds like good content. That's what what I want to see.
Yeah, some weird, awkward moments.
All right. Okay, perfect. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna follow you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
I'm excited. Yeah, when we can subscribe to your YouTube channel. So really, if you are a Disney person, and you want like an insider view of Disneyland,
insider view,
or an expert view.
It's kind of relaxing. You just turn it on while you're cleaning your house, and you could just walk through the park with me.
Oh, yeah. All right, that sounds relaxing. I've done that with you. I don't. It wasn't relaxing because there was also a toddler and a.
But now you could be at home. You don't have to be in the crowd. You don't have to be in the sun.
Right. No, those are all good things.
It's nice.
Yeah. And we don't have to pay whatever.
And you don't have to pay anything.
$120.
No, nothing. Yeah. You can click subscribe for free.
All right. Do it. Do it for this podcast. Do it for Stephanie's Instagram and YouTube. All right. Thank you. All right. We're back with Stephanie Fish, who was a Disney princess for 4 years.
Yes.
Worked at Disneyland for 8 years. So actually, I kind of want to talk about what it feels like to be a Disney princess. Like, what's that first moment in the morning when you pop out of the park and like the kids light up? I mean, is it a good feeling, or is it a feeling like, oh, here we go again?
Yeah, to me, seeing the kids be so excited made me so happy every single time. It never got old to me, ever. Yeah. I mean, I could see hundreds of kids in one day, and every single one that I made smile just warmed my entire heart. Oh. And I can remember so vividly being that age, being so young and just wanting to be a Disney princess and dreaming about princesses and meeting them at the park and just being in awe of them. And so to be on the other side of it, and it's just beautiful. It really is beautiful to me.
Oh, all right. So, well, then that's a little insight, I feel like, into why Disneyland is still a special place for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So it never did you actually, I mean, how in character were you? Did you feel like the princess, or did you always feel like you were just playing dress up or something, not jest, but I mean, yeah, I mean, not that I think, did you have identity issues?
I know. I'm like, now this is gonna get kind of weird over here. I mean, I feel really connected to Tiana. Just not only because she's the first Black Disney princess, which is amazing, but because my family's from Nolans. And so I see a lot of my family in her story and in the food. I mean, you can't have a story about Nolans and the lead is a cook without talking about all this amazing Creole food that is just so ingrained in my own life.
Oh, all right.
So I always felt very connected to Tiana.
All right. So then on a daily basis, I guess my broader question is, did you love being a Disney princess? I mean, was it a great job, or was it like, well, it was fine for a year, but then it got a little old?
When I was a little kid, like I said, I used to go to Disneyland a lot and look at these princesses and watch so many Disney movies. And I actually used to write letters. I don't think I ever mailed them, but I used to write letters to Walt Disney, who I didn't know was dead. And I would be like, please, please make a Black princess. All I want to be is a Disney princess one day. That's all. Please make a Black princess. And I don't want to tear up right now.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the first tears are coming on the Workin' It pod.
To be able to actually play a princess at Disneyland, and it was the first Black princess, and I was one of the first people to play her. It still catches me off guard sometimes because I just can't believe it happened, and that's part of why I'm always going back to Disneyland, because it really was the first place where so many of my dreams came true for real.
Well, and when you were out there, now being this, probably instantly iconic character, I mean, were you seeing, was it a lot of little Black girls? Was it a lot of, or was it just all the girls? I'm hoping the answer is all the girls.
It was all the girls. And I don't know what made me happier, seeing these little Black girls that finally had somebody who looked like them, somebody that they could relate to. Or honestly, seeing these little white girls come with their Princess Tiana dresses, and they would have on full Tiana, and they're like, Tiana's my favorite princess. And I said, yes, she is. Yeah, that's right. I loved it. I just loved it.
Wow. And so Tiana's still going strong at the park.
Oh, yes. There are so many people whose their favorite princess is Tiana.
Oh.
Definitely. I mean, I think if you're looking at merch and at characters walking around the park, you're going to see a lot more Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty for sure. Right. And Rapunzel, she's huge right now.
Right. Well, and Elsa probably.
Oh my gosh.
I know, because my daughter is obsessed with Anna.
Those
Elsa.
frozen bitches.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez, just honestly, kill me now.
I don't know though. I was at Disneyland.
Maybe I should let it go.
You should let it go. But I was at Disneyland a couple of days ago, and the Disneyland band.
You were there like 2 days ago?
I was there like 2 days ago. I can't get enough. I'm telling you. And the Disneyland band was playing Let It Go. And it was like, I was getting hyped. Like I was jumping up and down the drum section. It was awesome.
Yeah, my daughter just like runs through the house screaming that song.
Oh man, I wish she had been there. I wish she had seen the band.
Oh yeah, well I'm sure we can arrange that at some point. So do you feel like were you like an anomaly, or were you kind of the norm in that like working at Disneyland was like a dream job? Do you feel like a lot of those cast members have that where it's a dream job?
Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot of the cast members and so many people would audition. I knew somebody who auditioned maybe 9 times.
Wow.
To keep trying to get into parades. So many people, it's a dream for a ton.
And then, so once people are in there, is it hard to get them out? I mean, are they just staying there for a long, long time?
Oh, a lot of people stay for a very long time and transition into upper management.
Because you can age out of being a princess.
You definitely age out. My friend, she just aged out of everything basically, but the last character that they were still letting her do was Alice. But they were like, okay, this is it for Alice. Like, you're done. You can't be 12 anymore. Oh. But like, she did like Tinkerbell, Alice, Wendy. She did a bunch of princesses too. But
wow. Well, because I'm guessing, and I think just kind of anecdotally, I've heard like these are not high paying jobs, right?
No. So when I did parades as a dancer, I think I made like $15 an hour.
Okay. And this was a few years ago, but still, that's not,
right.
Yeah.
And then Tiana, when I was Tiana, I made like close to 20. So if you're a face character in the park doing meet and greets, you get paid more. That's
but only like $20 an hour.
Yeah, not that much more, but like more.
A little tough to make that work in Southern California.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I lived the whole time I worked at Disneyland, I lived at home with my parents. Like, there was no way I could afford my own place unless I wanted to live in, like so many of my friends, in a house with 10 people. But
with 10 people who work at Disney.
No, thank you. Yeah. They all work at Disney. All the Disney parties are at that house. It's just like.
Okay, so now, do the Disney people, do they party?
Oh, yes.
Oh, see, it's so squeaky clean, but underneath it.
You have no idea.
Well, why don't you give us an idea, Stephanie? I think that's what we're here for.
These Disney cast members are heathens.
Yeah.
I have to tell you.
Really?
Oh,
so like just across the board?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, I haven't been to any like food parties or the janitorial services, people who work in foods.
Oh, right. But you're talking in the cast
attractions.
members. Oh, but they're all cast members.
But they're all cast members. But no, but I'm saying like I hear those other departments, there's a lot of drama over there too.
So what's the drama?
It's just like, it's like a high school, there's this person's dating this person's slept with this person. I mean, it's just everything. I'm in the cool locker aisle. I got so-and-so got his locker moved by mine. He doesn't deserve to be over here. He's only worked here for 6 months. Who does he think he is?
Oh, they're territorial about the lockers?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes.
But that's the thing. And it's all relative to all of us. Would
name the locker aisles, like there was Rodeo Drive, Tranny Row.
Oh my, really?
Yes. As I'm telling you, it was high school. Like, I mean, the drama was just the most. Pettiest thing.
And it's all theater kids, probably.
It's all these theater kids. This is like, especially in parades, like you just have all these theater kids, all these dancers, and everyone's all sexed up. We're all in our early 20s. Like it was just crazy there.
Oh my God. So I want to hear more about the parades.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So what was
parades is fun. Parades is where my heart is for sure.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
That's where your heart is.
That's where my heart is. All the dance spots that I did.
Oh, okay. So if you're doing a parade, like how many times a day are you doing that parade?
It depends. I did some shows. Used to do the High School Musical show, which we did about, I would say maybe 5 shows a day. And then after that I would do.
But is that show as a parade?
It's a parade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I call it a show because it has show stop. So it like parades out and then it'll stop. Right. And then we do like a 15-minute show with a bunch of, medley of songs. Right. And then we parade to another location and then stop and then do the show again.
Oh.
And then parade out. So that's what I would consider one parade.
Okay.
So we would do that 5 times a day. And then.
So you were doing 10 times, your little show, you're doing
that little show 10 times.
Oh.
And then I would do another show that was like an afternoon parade called Block Party Bash, which that was the most fun parade. Jump ropes, jumping on trampolines, scootering. Like it was insane. It was crazy. And then after that, I never did like electrical parade or anything, but some people would do electrical parade after that. So you can be there from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I know. Cause I did actually go to Disneyland with you once and we watched, it was in December.
Oh yeah. The Christmas parade.
Yeah, we watched the Christmas parade. And yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing. And you were pointing out, I used to stand right there and do that.
Yeah. The Christmas parade, that was the first parade I ever did. That's what I got hired in as. So I did the Christmas parade, I think almost every year that I worked at Disneyland. I think there was one year I did not do it.
Right.
But every year I did the Christmas parade, and that's its own little beast. It doesn't have any show stops like some of the other parades. But it moves really slow. So you're out en route for a good 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, it's very slow.
It moves really slow.
Very
So
slow.
it's tough. You have to have a lot of endurance.
Yeah. Oh no, that's what I noticed. I mean, I felt like I had to have endurance watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
And then you were there right next to me. You're like, oh yeah, this is the part. And then you're like singing the songs, like giggling and yeah. You don't have rights to that song. Please don't sing it.
Oh.
No, but I mean, you could really see your genuine love of it. You've done that parade 1,000 times.
I know, and I just don't get sick of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a skill set right there.
Thanks.
I think.
Yeah.
So So there was. So were you able to? I feel like the other thing that I kind of want to touch on is that when I think of Disney, I do think of this homogenous thing. Like it's like everything is very prescribed and regimented, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you? And I think I got it a little earlier, but let's put it a different way. In like, do you lose a sense of self when you're there, or like, oh, you're just this perky Disney person and you have to do this? I mean, is it hard to kind of like on those days, especially, oh, you're hungover, or you don't feel good, or you're just sad? I mean, and to have to plaster on the Disney persona, I mean, was that difficult? I mean, and did you lose like a sense of self at any time?
So I will say I definitely, I sound all like, oh, it was great and so fun, and I'm all peppy about it. And that is true for me, but it's also true that it was very draining working there, because I and a lot of the other people that I worked with in entertainment, we consider ourselves entertainers and artists. And the majority of us are like technically trained dancers, actors, singers. And yet Disney is paying us minimum wage, and we're not in a union. We don't have benefits. We don't, we're kind of treated kind of shittily, And meanwhile, I'm out here dancing in high heels on concrete for 45 minutes straight for you. Yeah. And so that got very tiring. It was fun when I was younger, and it didn't really matter that much.
Right.
But once I got older and I want to do more with my life, I want to be more creative, more artistic, and make money doing it. I got really disenchanted with Disneyland, with working there. Yeah. I mean, I just really was just like, this isn't it. And it was hard to explain that to people, because everyone's like, but you're so lucky, but you're a princess, but you're this and you're that. And I am so lucky, and I do recognize that. And I definitely am so thankful to Disneyland for making those dreams that I had come true. Right. But you know what? Yeah, I got new dreams.
Yeah, well, right, and I feel like the whole entertainment industry does it. I think, especially on the entry level stuff, is they take advantage of the fact that there's 1,000 people to fill those slots.
They just want to perform,
and so they can pay you as little as possible. I mean, it's supply and demand, I suppose.
Completely.
But it doesn't make it morally correct, though.
Yeah, it just wasn't for me. I was over it when I was over it, and that did get really hard. It got hard for me to be at work. And to clock in. I remember I had some shift that started at 9 a.m. and I was like, I hadn't yet clocked in yet. And this girl's all, hi, good morning. And I was like, do not talk to me. Do not ever do that again. Like, I was just done. When I was done, I was done. And when I went out in the park and performed, like I'd still be happy and everything. And because seeing kids making other people happy and smile makes me so happy. It fills my soul, but it just wasn't enough anymore. But it still, made me happy to do it. Right.
So then you've been able though to set all that aside and come back and enjoy the park, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. I mean, no question about it. Definitely. Just the sounds and the smell of Disneyland. It puts me at ease. I have a lot of social anxiety. And so going to Disneyland is a way for me to be out and kind of be in a social setting, but I'm in a setting that I feel so comfortable in. I don't have anxiety there because it feels like a home to me. And I've spent so many nights at Disneyland when the park is closed and it's empty and I'm there for a late night rehearsal. And so I kind of feel like I have this personal relationship with the park, which I know a lot of my other fellow cast members do, whether they're in entertainment or they work in, they're a janitor. And so they're late night cleaning up. But when you take a walk through the park by yourself when it's closed, it is so magical and beautiful. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. But so every time I walk in the park, when it's open and when it's full of people, I just have these memories of just me in the park, just the two of us. And it just makes me feel like I have this personal, private connection to it.
No, that's beautiful.
I mean, I know it sounds weird, but that's just the best way that I can explain it.
It doesn't sound weird at all. And I think that's a beautiful place to end this. Stephanie, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. I think everyone's going to find that a really fascinating, wonderful conversation.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Workin' It is a production of Atelier Fish. Music in this episode was provided by Isaac Joel. We'll be back next Monday to start your work week right with a brand new episode. Thanks for listening.